Hey YouTube! Today I am at my breaker box here, showing you how I just wired up my air compressor. Basically, sorry that I've got it a little jumbled up here. I know it's got air compressor here and here and here, but right here is the air compressor that come with the garage. It's mounted outside the building in the back. It's an old 30 or 40 gallon M-Glow compressor. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, old and rusty. It's a single stage. It don't put out very much air. And then I just wired up this one here. This is a 50 amp breaker, and it goes to my new air compressor that I just bought. Let me take you back here and show you. Sorry about the mess in the garage. I just got a lot of stuff going on. I washed my lawnmower yesterday, and I found me a kayak on Craigslist, and I've just got a lot of junk here and there right now. But here is my new baby. This is a Champion Advantage. It's their R15 pump with a 7.5 horsepower motor. It's a 230 volt single phase. The pump is a 2-stage, and anyways, it's basically a beast of a compressor. You know, it's got a lot of upgrades to it. It's got a pneumatic tank drain, and basically, you know, you'll get some air in the bottom of your tank, and I guess it sends some type of air signal up to this valve up here, and I guess it causes it to open and release the moisture out of this little spit tube. And anyways, that's one of the advantages. It's got a nice little sight glass on it so you can see how much oil's in it. Right back here, it's got a low oil shutdown that basically goes connects to the pump down there, and what it does is it's got a float basically in that low oil shutdown, and that float stays the same height as the fluid that's in this sight glass here. And whenever that float drops down, it lets the compressor know that it's low of oil, so it causes the compressor not to start. It's basically just a safety precaution on there so you don't start your motor with low oil. You know, that way it don't run and get hot and, you know, burn itself up. Another thing this compressor has is it has a magnetic starter to help it stop and start and not burn out as bad. Over across the back here, it's got a belt-driven aftercooler, and what that does is on the back of the pump, you know, you've got your pump, and then down here at the bottom you got your crank, and then you got your pulley that's mounted to the bottom of the back of the crank. And when that pulley turns, you know, the pulley turns by that electric motor. It turns that pulley and it with those belts, and when that crank turns around, it spins real fast, and it forces air through this basically a little radiator is all it is. A little transmission cooler is what it looks like, and I know some people use transmission coolers on these to cool that air down. Well, anyways, that air gets cooled with that fan, and in exchange, that hot air gets cooled down, and it creates less moisture in the lines and in the tank. And they say that it cuts the moisture down by like 65%. Don't know how true that is. I'm sure they've tested that, so, you know, somewhere between 60 and 65%. So that's a pretty good amount of loss of moisture. Basically, another way that it works is it's basically plumbed, going right outside of the cylinder head. I don't know if you can see this line right there coming out of the cylinder head. It's basically a line with these little fins on there, and they're for cooling as well. But it goes down, what wraps around the back of the pump. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong line. It's this line, comes out of the head and goes down, goes into the top of that aftercooler, and then all that, it takes all those little passages ways down to the very bottom to where it gets cooled in the middle, and then it comes out cooler air down this tube and right into the tank, you know. And anyways, like I said, it's supposed to cool your air quite a bit. One thing I did do on this compressor was they come factory with these little rubber isolators, little rubber donuts that you're supposed to mount up underneath the feet. And the reason they say to go ahead and mount it on these rubber pads is so that it's easier on the welds on the tank. They say if you just mount it to concrete without no kind of rubber vibration dampener in there, that it can cause those welds to break. So instead of using those little rubber donuts, I didn't like them. And, you know, I didn't want some big old floor mount for this thing. You know, I didn't want to have to mount it to that concrete. So I just went to Tractor Supply during Black Friday, and I found this 3/4 inch stall mat for horses. And I took and cut it to match my walls. And anyways, it turned out real nice. Actually, it's basically just the same thing as those little rubber mats, except I made it wider, so in case I need to move it over, I can. And if I ever want to put another, just an air tank right here and hook into this one to increase my volume for, let's say, painting or sandblasting, something that requires a high volume of air, that's what I was planning on doing, is just getting me another tank. I know a place where I can pick up air tanks brand new for $80. I actually found them at like a peddler's market up in Kentucky. So next time I go up there, I'm gonna take the truck and grab one. Just run me an extra air tank, and then also in the back of my outside of my shop, I've got another 30 or 40 gallon M-Glow tank that's already plumbed into the line. And there's the, I don't know if you can see it, but there's the air lines right there, and they go behind all that junk and go on outside where that tank is. So I was going to use that tank as well. So I'll have an 80 gallon here, an 80 gallon beside it, and another 30 to 40 gallon tank outside. And, you know, if I wanted to, I'm not saying I'm going to, if I wanted a little more air volume, I can hook this 28 gallon compressor tank up to it. I'm not talking about running the motors on any of these small compressors. I'm just talking about plumbing the tank into the system and using just the volume. So anyways, it's just a thought. That way, if I'm sandblasting, you know, the compressor don't have to run the constantly to try to keep up. You know, it'll run for a long time to fill up those tanks, but then it's going to be a few minutes before it has to kick on again because it's got a lot of volume. But anyways, that's my review of the Champion. I would turn it on for you, but you ain't going to be able to tell no difference in the sound by just listening to it over the internet. But I can tell you it's comfortable. You can still talk in here. It's not loud. I can promise you it's not as loud as that little compressor that I showed you in there on the other side. That's just a little Campbell Hawesville compressor, little single stage. But I can tell you, it's just as quiet as that thing. So you can definitely come in here and hold a conversation and not, you know, be too obnoxious. You know, unlike a lot of those compressors that, you know, you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, where they turn so fast and they're so loud you can't get next to them because they're like, bah! Well, you know, this one, you know, it's fairly quiet. My only problem that I had with the Champion compressors was I did not care for the motor that they sent me on this one. This is a single phase 230 volt. They sent a Marathon motor. They kept messing my order up between the local distributor and Champion. They messed my order up like 3 times. The first time it come with like a Baldor motor, which was what I specified that I wanted, but the motor was the wrong voltage. It was set up for 208 voltage only. It would not interchange. You know, I know some motors interchange 208 and 230 volt. This one would not. It was only for 208 voltage. So I sent it back. They sent me and tried to replace it with a WEG motor that they bought at some local parts house, and I refused to take that because I told them I wanted the Baldor. So they ordered me a completely new compressor, and when they ordered the next one, it came with a WEG motor, so I was very disappointed in that. But they ordered 3-phase instead of single phase like what I wanted, so I sent it back. So finally they ended up getting me this one, and like I said, when I got it, I was even more disappointed. It had a Marathon 7.5 horsepower motor on it. So, you know, to me, you know, I'm not knocking it, but it just looks cheap. Looks real thin. I'm just not real happy with that Marathon motor. They don't have a real good track record of being very reliable. I know all motors fail, you know, no matter if it's American made or not. But when you pay almost $3,000 for an air compressor, and you know, it has this sticker on the side, and let me explain on the sticker. It says, I don't know if you can read that, designed and assembled in the USA. Well, that don't mean that it's American made materials that they use to build this thing. I can almost guarantee you that, you know, the parts on this thing are not American made, just American designed and assembled, which is sad. They end up paying this kind of money for an air compressor, and they can't even put you on a Baldor motor. And when I called Champion and asked them about it, they were like, well, we still use Baldor motors, but on that particular model that you got with that 7.5 horsepower single phase 230 volt, sometimes we use Baldor, sometimes we use WEG, and sometimes we use a Marathon. But on their pictures on their website, to me, if you look on their website, it shows right in here, it shows a smooth end plate on the end of this motor. Well, that's basically exactly what a Baldor looks like. So when I called Champion, I told them that. I was like, hey, the pictures online that you guys are showing, it don't specify that it's a Baldor, but the picture looks just like a Baldor. And the picture I've seen on other compressors that I've taken, you know, compressors around my area down here. In fact, I went into a Lowe's or a Home Depot, and they had a Champion in the back powering their building. I don't know what it was powering, but anyways, they had a Baldor on theirs. But when I talked to Champion, they said they used several different motors. And I expressed to them how aggravated I was because I specified that I wanted a bow door motor on mine, and I'm basically not getting what I paid for. So hopefully somebody from Champion will see this video and say, hey, let's treat this guy right and let's get him what he paid for, and you know, let's get rid of this Marathon motor and let's get him a bow door on here, you know, make him happy. But yeah, I doubt that'll happen. But anyway, YouTubers, that's my setup, and I'm gonna try to get this thing plumbed in over the next few weeks. This is a really big garage, so it's gonna be a lot of work. So anyways, you guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later.